Hello, all. Welcome to Up the Ladder Season 2. A series of insightful yet candid conversations with software developers, data science professionals, and educators from across the domain to help you accelerate your careers. So today on the show we have Sameer Dubey. He's data science manager at AGS Health, so currently working in healthcare industry, and in the past he has worked in Accenture uh, in the data science field, and he has primarily in his career focused on fintech and FMCG domains primarily. So I'm sure that we have a lot of things to learn from Sameer today, and he has a huge experience in data science, practically taking a lot of interviews and practically doing a lot of hands-on data science on a daily basis. So we have a lot of things to discuss and a lot of things for you all guys to take away from today's session. So welcome Sameer today for today's show.
Thanks, Aditya. Thanks. It's my pleasure to be here. Feeling really delightful that I get a chance here to
Thank thank you.
talk out to people out there who are aspiring to be data scientists. So totally my pleasure.
Right. Right. Thank you, Sami, for taking out that time. So, Sami, today probably we'll start out, digging deeper into your journey at the start, and then probably, going into the other aspects of data science, and probably discussing about how, different data science interviews are conducted, what is the intent, and what is exactly checked in those interviews, and then probably some of the other things that you have, some advices for the early career professionals and other professionals, mid-stage professionals as well. So starting out on the first section, so probably I just wanted to understand, did you heard about data science? How did you get to know about data science in the first place? Where did you heard about it, and how did you discover that this is the thing that I have to do for the next few years of my life? So probably walk us through that journey. How was that?
Sure. I'll start right from where it all started. So right out of my BTech, I was looking for jobs, and the job offers that I was getting, they did not delight me at all. So, and that is where I realized I need to do something bigger than this. Instead of landing up at a job which does not satisfy me, I should rather try something else. So that is where I started this journey. I gave this exam called GATE and landed in Delhi Technological University, and that is where I was first introduced to data science. It was my first project. My mentor, he introduced me to data science technologies, and it was quite evolving at that time. Started with Python. Prior to that, I was working primarily on C and C++. But talking about the programming language perspective, I started there with Python, and started implementing some problems in data science. Me, my mentor, and we had a group there, and we started this whole journey there
So
itself.
this was an online course which you kind of took up. Uh,
No, it was not an online course. It was a full-time MTech.
oh, okay,
Yes, it was full-time MTech in Delhi from Delhi Technological University in computer
okay,
science
okay, okay.
engineering. Yeah, so that is where I landed, and that is where we started this. So primarily, if you talk
So it was
about it,
just after you done your this bachelor's, just after that, or did you work for a few years and then probably?
no, just after my bachelor's, I decided to go for further studies,
So
and
what?
I
So,
chose
so
MTech. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, why data science? Why, like, how did you decided that data science is a thing for you in the first place?
See, when we go to MTech, we have to specialize in one thing
Yeah.
or the other. It's not about you learn this, you learn that. We have to be focused on something, because that something is going to be your thesis next year, right? The area of your thesis next year. So when I hopped on. Actually, this is a very good question, because I tried a lot of things. I started with software development. The first thing that I did, I still remember, it was C#. I tried, to do a lot of development with C#, but then it certainly, it was good. I mean, I really, felt like a developer. But then when I got introduced to data science, it totally, blew me off, and it was a really good technology. And whenever a new technology is coming up in the market, right, it certainly, entices you to get into it, right? So that's how I enrolled into it. But once I got into it, dug deeper, tried solving problems, got into algorithms and everything. That is where it all got exciting. I started, solving some real world problems. We at DTU would get some real world problems and we would solve them. Once you see the impact of that problem, how that problem, creates a real world impact, that is what, creates a different kind of experience. And that's what something was about data science, which was, completely different from other fields. Yeah. So that is
How
how,
would you draw parallels between, so you have experienced software development before as well, and then probably you switched to data science. So in I believe that in web development, or for that matter any software which you build, that is also solving some real use cases. So what different that you found out about data science, and what intrigued you more about data science that you chose data science as a career?
as I said, data science, it creates an impact in terms of money. You can actually, see how you save money or how you optimize the problem
Business
which is
impact.
going on actually. So that is what was different about data science and this whole field in itself. And that is what, helped me draw parallels between, the other fields which were there. See, when you are in MTech, you get a lot of options. You can land into computer security, you can land into database administration, you can land into the software development engineering, and then there was data science. So that's how it all began. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So you were talking about Python with your mentor, and yeah. So
Yeah.
what after that happened?
Yeah, so we started with Python. I still remember the first project that I did. It was on human activity recognition. There was this company, they were trying to recognize human activity. So we did a small demo for them. So that is where it all started. Recently, I used this as my MTech thesis as well. Moving on, with that. Then I was fortunate enough to land a job in data science itself, in the company of data science. But to be honest, I waited a little for that to happen, because a lot of companies were coming on the campus, and when these companies are coming up, they don't make distinctions like you're a data scientist or software developer. If they like you, they will choose you, right? So I made certain choices. I tried for companies which specialize in data science, and that's how I actually landed a data science job as well. So I would say there was partly some luck, partly some choices that I made, but certainly, it was worth it in the end. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. So like you had some other companies might also been in the college which might have been giving higher packages, but that was not data science. But you chose data science because that was your love, I think, and that
Yeah,
might also
certainly,
be true
certainly.
for you,
Yeah,
right?
totally, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So yeah, it's very difficult to find out your passion, but yeah, you found out that and probably went ahead and gave your 100 best to it. Okay, so tell me, how was your first interview like? What was the things that that you did to get your first job in the first place, and how was your first job experience and everything? Yeah.
Okay, so I still remember my first interview was at Shop Clues. There was this company called Shop Clues, and I actually got rejected from that interview. To be very honest, to put it that way. But every time I fell down, I just believed in myself more, and tried to go up with more velocity, with more power, and that's how I kept trying, and it was finally I got a I secured a job in data science company. So talking about my interview experience, to be honest, if you're a fresher, most data science interviews are not very specific to data science. I mean, they will mostly judge you upon how smart you are, how smartly you solve problems, how do problems excite you, how do you find how can you solve challenging problems and all. So that is more about it. But as you go on, as you move on, and your experience, you gain experience, then that is where they focus more on domain specific interview questions. So that's how it really works. Yeah.
Right. So could you share about how was your, first company, like you just transitioned out of academia to real industry. So how it was that
Yes.
transition in your first company doing real world data science projects? So how was that like?
Yeah, it was my first company that actually made me a data scientist. I mean, until now I was partly a data scientist, partly I am tech student. But as soon as I reached this company, I met my colleagues there. And, they were working on some really fascinating technologies and everything. I still remember the first project I did. It was we were making a recommender system. So basically, it was a really good experience, learning from people, and that's what I focused on during the initial years I worked. that I've completely focused on my learning. I tried to accentuate my path in terms of learning, and rather not focused on switching and earning more money on all these things. So that was one aspect that I took up. I don't say that that is the correct path, but that was something that I believed in. And once I had secured myself, okay, now this is quite some good learning. I am now a data scientist. When I actually started calling myself a data scientist, and that is where I started focusing on other growth in other terms. So in my first company, we started with a lot of projects. We would usually we would work on multiple domains initially. So it was a very good experience, because you get to learn about a lot of domains and how exactly data you can actually put data science to work in all these domains, right? So that's how it was in my first company. There were a lot of challenges I faced, a lot of pressure I faced, but that certainly is a part of the work, and that should be there, I would say. So because that's what makes you a complete professional.
Right. So, what all aspects did you, had learned in academia that translated very well into the industry, and what all things which were not exactly taught to you in the academia and that you learned on the way to the job, and which things, you generally learn throughout a job, and which things, generally you, suggest that the learners should come prepared when they are, coming to the industry for the first time.
Yeah, so there were certain things. For example, when we were in until the time we were in university, we were more focused on technology aspect of it. Python. We were and it happens with a lot of students as of now as well, that I've seen. They correlate a lot between Python and machine learning, and it is pretty obvious. We would do that as well, but once we landed into industry, we understood that it's nothing but business, right? I mean, a company wants business. You have to bring them business, and you have to translate anything, anything that you're doing, be it Python, be it data science, or anything at all. You have to talk in terms of business, right? I mean, what is going to be the outcome? You can propose a lot of techniques, you can propose a lot of solutions, but ultimately, if it is not creating business, it's not going to work out. So that was a big translation, because there were certain times I would really think, I mean, how is this approach really going to work out? But that approach is giving them business, right? So to be very honest, I would sometimes fight with my manager that I think it's not a good approach. But but they knew business better, right? So that was something that was hard to accept, because because when you land in a data science job, you're always thinking about, I will apply this model, I will apply that model. But they would really fixate themselves on very simpler models, something which can bring them business in simple terms, right? So that's the harsh truth. Apart from this, there's one more thing I would like to tell the community out there, that it's that no one tells you what to do. You have to do it yourself, and you have to do it right. So that is also another thing. Plus, there's one more thing. Don't waste too much time on research. That is what I realized once I entered there. Take a greedy approach. If something is not working out in lines with the company's profit, don't go that way. Switch your paths early enough. So that is something I realized the harsh way in the industry.
Right. That is very important lessons, I think, for all the folks who are listening to this, because yeah, a lot of things we have learned. ठीक है, हमने Excel सीखा है, हमने Tableau सीखा है, SQL सीखा है, हमने ML सीखा है, हमें ML के ये मॉडल सीखे हैं, ensembling ये वो, but हम जब जाते हैं, we get this problems, we try to apply all of those whatever we have learned, but now this is, at the end of the day, it's all about business, as you said. If it is not impacting the business, it is no matter whatever you know, whatever you researched, whatever fancy algorithms that you apply, that is no of use. It's all about business at the end of the day. And I think second point which you highlighted was I think it was, what was that? I forgot about
it. Was like no one is going to tell you what to do.
Yeah, no one is going to tell you what to do, because, and don't go the deep route of research. Rather, understand more about, spend more time on the problem itself, understanding the problems from your manager, from your peers, and then probably switching gears to understand. Because most of the times the problems would be trivial, as you said. Like, it can be answered through simple problems, simple models. I mean, right, wonderfully.
Plus, there's one more thing. I mean, you need to keep your eyes open. I mean, in any technology field. I mean, I'm not just talking in terms of data science. So my initial approach was that I would sit with my peers, I would sit with my seniors in the company, and then I would try to understand what they did in their projects and how they really dealt with this problem, that problem, and all these things, because you never know what problem you are going to encounter in the future. Uh, the more you have shared with people, the more people have shared with you, the more knowledge you have. So that's the thumb rule in the industry.
Right, right. So understanding more approaches to solve a business problem rather than
Yes.
tools. Tools you will understand by the on the way when you solve those problems, and you can Google it
Yes.
out and everything. But this things of insights and everything is very important. Correct.
Correct. Because I've seen students, they spend a lot of times on theory part of, and I've seen students spend a lot of time on this theory part of these programming languages. I mean, understanding OOPS. I've seen people who have been learning OOPS, and they spend a lot of time learning OOPS. I mean, try to implement it, right? Try to see how it works out. That is the right way.
Right. Rightly said. Okay, so how did you transition along the way to, wherever you are right now? So you're currently managing a data science team at AGS Health. So how did you went ahead till that point? So how was your transition? What was the learnings that you took away in the different transitions? What were the different key points that you have you want to share?
Yeah, sure. So certain key points are, as I said, one is this only, that try to apply technology, try to see how it's really going to work out. And secondly, apart from this, there's one more thing that I really want people to understand. Try to understand the core, of your technology, right? Not just, you've studied technology, you've gained a certificate. I think, that is a very very limited approach, and I think a lot of people in the market out there are taking this approach. What really matters in the end is how much people believe in you in terms of as a problem solver. I mean, so how people see you when it comes to solving a problem, right? What is your image in terms of how you solve a problem, how you approach a problem? So that is very, very important, and that makes your image. N number of technology, you just go out there and tell people, you write them down on your resume. I think that is good to shortlist your resume, certainly through some keywords, right? But in the end, it's all about how you solve a problem. And typical data science interviews as well. I mean, if I would say, they are focused on problem solving only. I mean, they will interview you, they will do everything, but in the end, they will also make you solve some real world problems. And if you get stuck there, they will know that that you are just more of about technology, and you're not a problem solver.
That is so relatable, Samir, that the
Yeah.
part which you said, that at the end of the day, what is the image of you as a problem solver that matters for your promotions, for your anything on those on
Yeah.
this thing, but not the tools, because that manager is not able to understand कि यार ठीक है कौन सी tools में आती है कितने level पे आती है, but he is probably going to understand कि यार इसको अगर मैंने ये problem दिया है, how would he solve that? What is the approach that he take? Is he taking a smart approach or not? I think that you have summarized pretty nice.
And to add to this, there's one more thing. I don't say, technology, it's not about technology. It is always about technology. Technology is evolving every day. So this is one more point, that you have to evolve with technology, no matter what. So as I said, keep your eyes open. Know what is going around you in the market, right? If you don't, if you just give up at one point, I mean, by the time, I mean, let's say you don't, read about new technologies for 10 days. I am sure you will be ousted. I'm telling you this. Within 10 days, something would have happened, something new would have happened, and you would not know about it. So that is something very, very important. For example, in my career, my primary skill was data science and problem solving, and around that area, right? But I always believed in the technologies that revolved around this. For example, there was big data, then there was cloud technologies, cloud computing coming up, which is evolving by the way a lot nowadays. And then new type of job openings are coming up in data science itself. There is ML operations and so on. So I don't say that you be a data scientist and you learn this as well, you learn that as well. But as I said, keep your eyes open. Be the master of one technology, and jack of all. Yeah. So that's the right.
Yeah, right. So just to summarize that point, I think it's a journey that you are heading towards as a problem solver, whatever business treatment that you have got, and you have to have
Yes.
some tools under your belt that you should know of,
Exactly.
at least the basics of it, and you should know कि यार ठीक है नई नई चीजें क्या आ रही है, what is in the market, what is hot in the market,
Correct.
what are the newer tools that I can help to reach that journey faster in a
Correct.
summary, and probably learn about those new technologies, but like master a few technologies, but understand and about a lot of technologies as a whole, because there is some
Correct.
use case in the journey that you might come across which अगर आपको पता होगा, then you can solve it very quickly. Otherwise, you would take much of time to solve that particular thing.
Correct. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, pretty great insights for you all guys who are listening to this. Okay. So coming from there, so as you talked about this image as a problem solver thing, so I just want to understand, how do you understand this in a in the interview setting? So because I'm sure that you might get so many resumes with all the tools and skills written out there कि हमने ये किया है, all these things, right? So how do you get the right candidate, a good problem solver in data science?
Okay, so I'll talk about this very specifically. So see, when I get resumes, people have listed down n number of certifications out there, Udemy, and everything is there. I understand all these things are important in the end. These are sources you get your knowledge from, right? But applying that knowledge, that is what we generally check as a part of resume shortlisting, right? So once we have shortlisted resume, what we check in an interview is that, for example, let's say an interview comes up, right? So as I said, we want him to be problem solver, right? So that is the first thing we check, right? How good is he at problem solving? So a real world problem, a real world data science problem, maybe a case study or something, that comes in very important to check his problem solving skills. Apart from this, we usually check as to how good is he at mathematics, right? The mathematics that goes beyond machine learning.
Coming back to the problem solving bit, how do you understand he's a good problem solver? What, like, you ask some questions, or there is some other way around for that?
Yeah, sure. So basically, let us say I'll give him, some sample data. I'll give him an example of sample data, right? And I would want him to walk me through the whole process of this data science journey that he will perform, the data science experiments that he will perform on this data to bring me the end results, to convert this data into business. So I would look at that part of this. For example, if I, there are instances I give people some data, and they just come right out and they tell me that, okay, I'll fit this model on this, right? That I would say is not the correct approach of approaching a problem. First, try to understand the problem as to what we are trying to generate, what our end goal is. So sometimes you have to take a mix of, you have to take some steps in the backward direction, some steps in the forward direction, and that's how you actually approach a particular problem. So we look at certain things, such as how is he going to model the data, which is the first step in data science, and how is he going to transform that data into a usable form, into a form which can be consumed by a machine learning algorithm. Once you have described this, right, that is where one should move on to what algorithm is he going to apply. Because I would say 80% of part, your 80% of image will be formed by what you are going to do about the data, and only 20% of it lies on what algorithm you are going to apply on the data. And then if the candidate is good enough, or if he is for a higher role, we we would certainly want to know what business outcomes can he give out of the data. So yeah. So, but certainly, I mean, people with 1 or 2 years of experience, we would not expect that last part to be good at that last part. But these initial steps, we would obviously, not just we, any interviewer out there would want you to be good at, taking a step-by-step approach towards solving the problem of a data science specifically. Apart from this, we also, believe that this problem solving also comes through most of these things. I mean, it's very trending nowadays, competitive programming, right? So we also check people on these parameters as to how good is he at solving these competitive programming questions, right? So I wouldn't say for being a data scientist, any interviewer out there would go deep into this, but at least having an overall idea of data structures and algorithms, that would certainly prove you, that will certainly make someone stand out as a problem solver.
So it's not a mandate, but yeah, it is something which can
definitely it's good to have.
Okay.
It just adds some stars to your overall profile.
Yeah. Right. And as you said, the underrated part is that data. What do you do with that data is 80% part of it, rather than the model, which everyone is kind of hyped up about. But correct. All about that data, what you do about that data, how do you munch that data, massage that data and everything. Right. And you talked about statistics and mathematics. So which part of all these things is important as a entry level data analyst or a data science professional?
So for an entry level data scientist or a data analyst, I suggest, basic statistics he should be very thorough with basic statistics. When I say basic statistics, obviously mean, median, mode, these are the high school level statistics that we have. Apart from this, hypothesis testing, what exactly is standard error, because interviewers, they will generally ask you this question. I mean, what do you understand by standard error? I mean, that there is a formula for it. Okay, you can tell me the formula, but no, what does it really mean by standard error, right? So having an intuition of the behind the scenes, what actually is happening, how this was derived, having that kind of intuition is very, very important when it comes to mathematics. So data science mathematics is less about formulas, it's more about intuitions. I'll tell you why. Because you don't need formulas, you don't have to apply formulas. You already have Python, you have scikit-learn, you have scipy and all these things to apply all these statistics right out there. But they would certainly want you to know the intuition behind it, right? So you can apply that on a real world problem. So that is what any interviewer would check a person upon, that how good he is at understanding the intuition behind anything, any mathematical concept associated with data science. Apart from this, certain concepts which are important are obviously statistics, as I said, a little bit of linear algebra. Linear algebra is certainly very, very important when it comes to data science algorithm, because most of the work is done by matrices only. Uh, in most of your algorithms, there's matrix multiplication going on behind the scenes. So linear algebra makes it's very, very important. And lastly, calculus is a little bit of calculus, some intuition behind what is differentiation, what is integration, and some coordinate geometry. So these are the selective topics which are very important if you want to be a data scientist. But I would say you cannot skip mathematics if you want to be a data scientist.
So in an interview setting, mostly you're tested on the intuition part of the mathematics. No one asks you about the formula because you have that.
No one.
Yeah. So, and in intuition part, how do you suggest the learners to kind of build that intuition part? Probably any resources that you suggest, or probably anything that you in particular that you suggest, because I think maths is something very difficult for some people. So how do you suggest the folks which are trying to enter into the field?
So for certain resources, I myself did my own study. I mean, a lot of work that I have learned is with this Khan Academy. They certainly have really good videos. When it comes to mathematics, they are really outstanding. And apart from this, there was one more YouTube channel that I followed specifically for linear algebra and calculus, and I would share this that channel with Board Infinity.
Blue one round, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very intuitive channel, and they have really nice animations,
right.
And that is that is one full stop resource to linear algebra and calculus.
For
so
sure.
Yeah, so these are certain resources. Apart from this, I suggest students to Google their problems as much as possible, and trust the Stack Exchange links. So I mean, most of your intuitional problems, they would be answered on Stack Exchange specifically, and if they are not answered, I suggest ask them out on Stack Exchange, because that's what I did. I mean, whenever I would feel right, okay, I mean, in simple terms, I mean, if I would come across a formula, or and I would not understand what is actually happening behind the scenes, I would post it on Stack Exchange, right? Right. For example, the standard error itself, right? I mean, I wanted to understand where did this standard error come from, right? I mean, there was standard deviation. Why did we need standard error? And because in initial days we would struggle a lot. So I posted this problem on Stack Exchange, and I got a reply, very good, very detailed reply. And so that's how I got to learn things.
Right.
So this is the hard way, but certainly the right way.
Right. So probably understanding why that mathematical concept exists in the first place, like why, exactly. How would I go about applying that mathematical concept rather than understanding the formula, because it's all that you can just Google it out and you can just find the formula, but understanding the intuition is very, very crucial in mathematics.
Very
and not mugging
important.
up.
Yeah.
Great. I think that was very insightful. And so basically, you talked about data science as in problem solving. How do you go about solving that data science problem? Just to summarize the data part of it. And then probably you talked about the mathematics intuitional part that is mostly covered. And if you have some good programming skills around data structures and algorithms, that would be a wonderful add. Apart from that, anything that you think, entry level data science professional would need to kind of crack a great interview?
Yes, sure. So an entry-level data science professional, I suggest, apart from all this, he needs a lot of practice, and, solving Kaggle problems and building a good profile. That certainly, is very, very important. One thing very specifically that what people should do is, they should start with, Kaggle, Kaggle is a very good platform where you can, just go out there and, see how people are solving problems already, see the winners solutions if they are available. And plus sometimes what I see is the students, they get stuck specifically how to reach how to actually start with Kaggle and everything. So I'll tell you, basically don't start with the Kaggle problems that are existing now. I mean, they are mostly about deep learning and advanced algorithms. So I suggest go back to 2016 2017, check out those problems and look at their winner solutions. Start from there, take a look at solution, understand it, and then try to solve it on your own. Right? Try to write its code in Python on your own, and that's how I think people should approach a problem. Once you have built this end-to-end communication with this problem-solving thing, that is where you should start taking up a new problem of data science and try to attempt an online contest on Kaggle.
I think that is very, very practical thing which you said, because a lot of people recommend Kaggle, but they don't specifically mention कि 2016 में जाओ अभी वाला deep learning के बारे में सब कुछ. So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I think that is very great insight which you shared. कि there was on the traditional side of ML or data science, that is more important for you, because otherwise deep learning is all mathematical and PhD stuff already. Like that is
Correct. So deep learning, I mean, I would say, I mean, people should go to deep learning, but it's very important to first understand the core of, as I said, understanding the core is very, very important.
Right. Focus on the fundamentals first and then probably go ahead.
First. Once you're comfortable with the fundamentals, you go to deep learning, you go to reinforcement learning. I mean, you can swim around as much as you want, but start with the core concepts, have a good grasp of your core concepts and move on.
Right. Okay, so any practical challenge, probably you faced upon when you're working on industry level projects, and kind of how do you tackle that, and some of the anything that you on those lines do you want to probably share?
Yeah, sure. So multiple challenges, we faced, every project, if you talk to me, I mean, every project is a challenge in itself, right? When you get the data, data is not as good as, Kaggle data or any Titanic data and so on, right? That you get 80% accuracy out there and you are happy. But in industry, basically what happens is there are chances that you may be getting only 60% accuracy, but that it all boils down to how you're going to convert that 60% and show it that with this, even with this 60%, we are going to save you these and these resources, and this is how even this 60% is going to benefit your business by this dollars. So converting that 60% to money is what it takes, because when you go out in the industry, the data is not as easy. It's hard to crack. First of all, it's hard to model. Once you have modeled it, you run your solutions and you don't get very good results, you get frustrated. But it's very important to understand that it's still industry data. Try to focus on how I can use this, whatever I'm getting, how I can use this to translate this to a business outcome. Right? So this is the challenge. This is one challenge that I face in every project, translating my machine learning outcome to business outcome. Right. Apart from this, I face a lot of mathematical challenges as well. Right. I mean, every day. I mean, that is why I say the mathematics is very, very important for machine learning. Right. See, I mean, a lot of mathematical challenges. For example, sometimes you may have to normalize a variable in a different fashion, right? Which may not work as per the standard tricks and techniques that are available. Right? So a lot of such problems we face in our day-to-day lives, and that is why I say that always have a very good understanding of mathematics when you're going out there to solve a data science problem. Otherwise it's just like you have a gun but you don't have the bullet. So that is something that I believe in. Yeah.
Right, right. So just to summarize, for a successful data science professional, understanding the problem, understanding what the business needs as an outcome is very important first, and
Yes.
then kind of modeling that data in the right way, in the right format, and then the most important part is whatever you have built, kind of convincing that to the business stakeholders that this is the thing which you all need and this is going to help the
Correct.
business. So I think, yeah, got it.
I mean, it so happens in many cases that you will run a very fancy algorithm. You will take it to your, peers and everyone, and they will reject it because they will say, "Okay, this is a very good algorithm, but how are we going to explain this
Right.
to say your client or the stakeholder?" So it comes out to be a challenge, right? Most people in the industry still believe in traditional ways of machine learning and this regression algorithms. So they want simpler algorithms, and then you will be struck like, okay, with simpler algorithm I'm not getting my accuracy, but still you will have to go by your simpler algorithm. So that is quite a challenge, and every data scientist faces in the industry out there.
Okay, so that is where the intuition behind that algorithm or maths kind of helps you to kind of translate that data sciencey language to business language, so that
Exactly.
they understand and they are convinced. Right.
Yes, yes.
Pretty much, pretty much. Okay, any soft skills in particular, that you think, I think you covered it in a different sense in altogether, but any kind of soft skills or any other things, any hard, so basically which hard skills that you focus on as a entry level data science professional, and what are the other software aspects or soft skills that you kind of focus on when you're interviewing candidates?
Okay, so I usually start my interviews with a simple problem. I just give a simple problem to check the programming skills. Right? So that is one very important skill that I would say every interviewer should have, interviewee should have. So the program, you see, if a data scientist is not good at programming, I mean, no one is going to hire such a data scientist, right? So yes, first is the programming part, right? Once I'm convinced that okay, the programming part is fair enough, then we move on to the what has he done in terms of data science. Does he know his project well, right? That is the next thing that I would suggest. So as you said, soft skills, I would suggest know your projects very very well, right? And there is one challenge that I have seen and quite lately, and that I would like to share with peers out there, and that is people when they're giving interviews, they do not structure their thoughts. They just go on telling them about their data science, about the project journey, and in the end it's not making sense, right? So take a moment, just try to structure the problem. So this is what the data was like, this is what I did, and this is where it was, this machine learning algorithm came in, and this is where I generated a business outcome. All this flow should always be there.
Storytelling, basically.
Yeah, to yes, storytelling is exactly what I mean. People must be able to summarize their problem concise, because you only have 1 hour, and if I give you 1 hour to just go on sharing rhyming about what you did in the data science project, it won't work out. So this is another thing that I feel. Apart from this, then we just go down and let the interviewee feel his area of comfort. We ask him as to what part of data science is he most comfortable with, and we usually check him in that area only, right? So this is very very important, right? To check the interview. See, there may be one part that one may be good at, there is another part of data science that another candidate may be good at. So let we go down to that aspect, where he is comfortable, and we then dig deep inside that those set of algorithms wherever he is comfortable. So this is how we check the data science part. So I mean, one can believe that it's not important to learn everything, right? It's important whatever you learn from data science perspective, learn well. So that is very very important. And then we basic mathematics, which is very very important from what we understand. And lastly, some more problem solving with some quizzes or something like that, or perhaps a real world situation. So this is how most of the data science interviews will be structured, right? And if I talk in terms of round, sometimes, it will always start with a hiring manager who will be taking your initial round. And that is there he will mostly grill you on your data science native skills, right? And then it will move on to someone who is at a higher level, and he will mostly grill you around the projects. He will give you real world situations and so on. And that mostly comes a case study round, right? This is how most interviews are structured. They usually take a case study round where they will give you a real world problem. They'll give you some data, and they would want you to come back with some results. So a lot of people in this round make mistakes, such as they run 100 different kind of algorithms, and they come up with 100 different kind of results. I suggest, basically, instead of doing that, focus on exploratory data analysis. Try to uncover some insights, right? What you see in the data and everything, and run one simple algorithm. Take the results to him, and just show him and try to show him what is the impact this is going to make. So that is how it should uh, go. Yeah.
Right. So what I got from it was kind of understanding the core, which you are already very good at, and knowing it to the depth, like basically because the hiring manager is going to grill you at the comfort zone, but he's going to grill you there very hard.
Yes.
So kind of
Yes.
knowing that very, very strongly is very, very important. And other part which you focused on
Definitely.
on the end part was, I think, um, which part?
The case study. The case
The case
study.
studies, right? The case
Yeah.
study, and kind of right. So not using all the algorithms as such, but you knowing, because otherwise, if you are applying every algorithm, which means you don't know all the algorithms rightly. You don't know the which when
Exactly.
to apply what. So this shows you that you don't know really data science. So I think applying the right
Correct.
few algorithms which you think are suitable for the problem, which makes you understand the hiring manager that you understand data science and you understand the algorithms and tuition and everything. Got
Correct.
it.
Correct. So as I say it, data science is not just about dot fit dot predict. It's about a lot of things which go behind the scenes, and your focus 80% of times must be on that part. How you model the data, how you deal with the data, and so on. And then finally applying the algorithm, and all these things, they come in later. Yeah.
Okay, Samir. So I think we have understood a lot about interviews. So I just wanted to understand about how a day look like for Sameer, and what a week look like for Sameer. For that matter, how a month look like. So how many projects that you solve in a month? How that does translate into a week, and how does that translate to a day? So can you share about those aspects?
Sure, sure. So for a data scientist, if you are working on a project, or you're working on a product, I mean, every day is a new challenge. To be honest, you will have something new come up every day, and you will be spending most of your time trying to solve that problem. So when I wake up, I'm not a morning person, to be honest, and so I take my time. I wake up easy, and then I sit. But I make sure I'm on my table by 10:30 or 11. uh, you know Getting rid of all the course, and I try to be on my table by 10:30 or 11. Then I spend some 1 hour around just trying to solve some problems, just to make sure my mind is in a fit state, right? And those problems, to keep it specific, are mostly these competitive programming problems that try to solve still at this stage as well. Then I start my work, and I just give half an hour of my time to these kind of problems, just to keep my mind fit, right? It's like exercise. You work out to keep your body fit. You should work out to keep your mind fit as well. So similarly, that's when my day starts. Calls and everything, having a calendar which is packed and so on. And then and alongside, you are also solving problems. You're also managing your peers and everything. So this is how it goes on. I usually uh, take my time off my chair when I'm solving a problem, and I think as I'm walking around, right? So I walk around a lot while I'm trying to solve a problem specifically. And by the time I end my day, I again give another 1 hour towards the end, learning something other than data science, learning about new technologies, as to what is going on around the market and so on. So this is how my day is spent, and then I take my time off, spend my time with my family. So that's how it typically looks like. I keep it very, very simple. And I enjoy on my weekends. I enjoy a good time. But one thing that I keep myself consistent with is learning. I try to learn as much as possible, uh, be it a weekend, be it a typical day. But I take some time out to learn about new things that are coming up.
Right, right. So just to add on, ask you further, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest and the greatest that is happening around?
So I'm very much fond of new startups coming up, because these new startups, they come up with a lot of new technologies, right? Recently I was reading about this deep linking technology. So these kind of things, I keep doing. Economic Times, it offers you a lot of insights into what is going around you, right? Similarly, Live Mint and all these newspapers, they help you understand the technology, what is going around the market. I read about quantum computing a lot, which is pretty much evolving nowadays. Similarly, cryptocurrencies and blockchains, which are also coming up. So this way, I mean, and there's no specific resource for learning, to be honest, because you can just read them out, you can just Google them out, or simply just read your own newspapers. All of them have these information available out there, right? Once you get to know a new term, I suggest dig a little deeper and try to understand.
Right, right, right. So starting out from the startups, deep at startups, and then going around what is happening in the market, and then going to the concepts. What are they doing actually in terms of solving?
Actually, startups, they reading about startups and their case studies, it helps you multifold. One, they let you know about the recent technology. Second, they may help you understand how you use this technology to solve a certain kind of problems. And then you also get to know what kind of problems are actually existing out there, right? So
Right.
that's why I think this is a very good from
Also,
I mean,
bigger
this is my suggestion.
right, right, right. Because rightly said, because I think bigger companies work on more complex problems which might not translate into your daily affairs, whatever you're working upon. But startups is like
Correct,
working
correct.
on a niche problem, can help you understand what it is, the tech that is helping them to solve that particular problem. So I think that's a very
Plus, I've seen Board Infinity also, believes in this. There's a tech weekly going on, and
yes, yes,
I follow it most of the times. Yeah, so it's a great thing, by the way. The most of the tech news that is going around the market. Yeah,
wonderful, great to
and
hear that.
and if you actually check out, there are many resources available. Who will keep you updated with the recent trends in technologies. But it's all about how you go about it. Right? You have to develop your interest. For example, if my interest is learning new technologies, even Google recommends me those articles that I'm interested in. You just open your Chrome, don't open anything else, just open your Chrome, and you will see a list of articles which you are interested in.
Yeah, the right things are just a right swipe away in your Google Discover, basically.
Correct.
Right, right, right. Rightly said. Because your recommendations kind of reflects whatever you're kind of trying to search and out and
Exactly.
all over the
Exactly.
place. So
Yeah.
wonderful. I just wanted to understand, according to you, what is the some of the specific traits or values that a person who is entering into a data science role should probably be aware of way before he's entering, or probably once you're there you understand that these are the core values that a data science professional must need. Like if you are not having those values, then you are on the wrong track. So yeah, can you just share light
Yeah,
on
I think we have been discussing it throughout. It's less about learning programming languages, syntaxes, and all these things. It's more about trying to apply it, right? So I mean, anything you learn, make sure you know about the real world application of that. So always try to relate anything that you come across with some real world application. So this is something that I would say, this is a trait that a data scientist should have. Once he has this kind of thing, he would know, okay, let's say you learn a statistical concept, right? And okay, where would I apply this statistical concept? For example, I mean, try to think of situations, then try to Google them, try to learn about them more. So this is something, this is one trait specifically uh, that a data scientist should have. And apart from this, you should always be anxious about technology, which is very important. Always whenever you're thinking of something, whenever you're thinking of a solution, think of it, what if I were to make a product out of it and sell it in the market, right? And if you think in this way, you will never go wrong, right? You will never do it wrong, right? Very important thought for data scientists out there. Always, whenever you solve a problem, think of solving it in a way that you're going to make a product of it and sell it in the market. Have this on your mind, and you will never go wrong.
That's a wonderful trick to have that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so just kind of we are on the climax of this particular talk. So just want to throw in some fast questions to you. So how do you become and be really productive as a data science professional on a daily basis? What are some of the tips and tricks that you want to share to the experienced folks probably that you kind of
Yeah, sure. I mean, in the initial days, it was quite. I have spent nights, solving problems. To be very honest, right? But I think that has all of it has paid off. So in the initial days, my one suggestion is do not complain. Work a little, and once you have worked enough, I think it will be on your tips, and you won't have to. It will be there in your subconscious mind, and you won't have to actually think a lot about it, and you will be able to solve problems smoothly. So practice, it comes with practice. Data science, as they say, why industry looks for data scientists who are experienced, because they want seasoned people out there, because it's not something that can be taught, right? I mean, it's something that you have, and you develop it with practice. So that is something.
Right. So I understand about practice, but probably specific any things that you when you learn about case studies or you learn about some few business problems that you make sure, because when you talk about solving a problem which is open ended, it's you can go anywhere all around. So how do
I get it. Yeah. So basically, a very very good question, and I think there is a very good answer to this as well. See, you should be technology ready. This is very very important. If something will come to you, right, and it requires a special kind of skill set, you should already have that skill set. It's not like now this thing has come to you, now you're learning some specific kind of thing. For example, let's say deep learning, right? If you're interested in solving deep learning problems, I suggest be ready with it. Not that a problem comes to you and now you start studying deep learning and then you apply it. So basically, similarly, there are a lot of other such data science algorithms and everything existing, right, which you should be prepared with, right? And because if you are not prepared with it, right, you will take time to apply it, and certainly you won't have that time. Trust me on that. Yeah.
rightly said. Okay, so basically, what do you see some of the future trends as to what is next coming up in data science or AI and machine learning? What are the future trends which are coming according to you, and we should be on a toes to kind of watch for them in a couple of
Yeah,
years?
sure. So in future, I see there are quite some growth in cloud computation and data science. There is going to be a lot of, and I think it's already growing every day. I mean, Amazon, SageMaker, and these technologies, they're very very important, because ultimately this after this post this COVID era, everything has shifted to cloud, and you know most of the data science solutions they are going to land in some cloud space, right? So to deploy these data science solutions, I think this is one very big area. And it actually right now there are a lot of jobs for these cloud computing thing, and there are not enough workforce in India. I'm talking about India. There's not enough workforce to fill these vacancies specifically for cloud computing and applying data science and deploying data science. When I say it, it's the field specifically is ML operations. Uh, Apart from this, I see a blend of data science and this blockchain technology taking over very soon. In fact, lately I was reading about a startup called as Builder.ai. So they are already leveraging both data science and blockchain technologies to build real-time projects, right? So very different concept. I suggest people read about their case studies and everything. So these are two very very emerging trends. Apart from this, deep learning is ever ending. It is going to unleash itself until there is a human kind of robot out there. So it won't stop until then. So it's definitely not going to stop. So get your hands dirty into deep learning, and it's quite a technology out there. I mean, data scientists, if you think you want to be cooler than just a data scientist, just be an ML engineer or a deep learning expert.
The sentient from Google is coming very soon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay, wonderful. I think that was a very enlightening. So just to end it off in just a few more questions. So what do you so what was the role of a mentor in your career as such, that when you started out, probably then, or probably right now also, you might have some manager in your first company or something. So what was the role of few of the mentors in your career success wherever you are right now?
Correct. I mean, see, mentor's role is always important. I mean, in any path of your life. I mean, be it data science or be it your general life or anything at all, right? So in my life, I think it was I was lucky enough to meet enough mentors, and I see people they really go out there, search for the right kind of mentors. But I was really lucky enough to have enough mentors around me, because I was, when I joined the organization, I was the junior most there, and there were a lot of senior folks out there working, and most of them were very helpful, right? So this kind of helped me shorten my journey, because otherwise I would have taken a lot of time going around things, and then understanding what do I really have to do in data science, right? So with these mentors around me, it kind of saved me time, and I got right at where I wanted to be. So this was something. Even now, I would say I have mentors in my life. I look up to them, and now that I'm trying to evolve as much as possible. So I learned different aspects of as to how to sell with data science, and how to yeah, I'm audible. Yeah,
Right, right.
I think yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I think I lost you there. Okay, मतलब मेरे side से I think there was an issue. Okay,
Okay, we can do this again.
continue from here.
Yeah. So even now I have mentors. I look up to them. But now the level is different. Earlier it was more about learning data science and all these things. Now it is a different kind of thing. Say how to convert data science to business, how to sell it out there, and all these things. So in at every step of life, you need to have this new zeal of learning something new, right? At every time, you cannot be just stuck with something. So for that part, you always need a mentor, right? And the mentor definitely helps you. I mean, I would say you can learn it on your own as well, but certainly that would take some time. So mentors helps you save a lot of time.
That is for sure, because that experience translates into a lot of
Correct.
learnings, and that learnings can help you save a lot of time. So for
Correct.
sure,
Correct.
I think
Correct.
that was wonderful. Okay, and probably one piece of advice that you want to our listeners, for that they want to at the end of the day take away as an application point from this podcast, that they should apply, like all the data science aspirants who are looking out to crack a great job, they should be looking out for. So what some few pieces of advices from you, as you are taking interviews a lot, day in day out, so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. So my one piece of advice would be smart, be aware, right? And I can assure you that these two things will help you crack through. See, whatever you're doing it. I believe in it, right? That you are going to do it right. But if you're smart and you are also confident about what you're doing, I think it will land you anywhere, right? So it all boils down to how smart you are, because everyone likes smart people. So that is something I would advise to people out there. And apart from this, never hesitate to reach out to people, right? People, I've seen these learners nowadays, they have a lot of complex in reaching out to their seniors and everything. Do not hesitate in that. Always reach out to people. They will always help you. I mean, if you reach out to 10 people, I think one of them would definitely help you, right? So there's no fault in being dejected by say, nine others. But even if that one helps you and puts you on the right track, that is going to help a lot. So that is something. And never stop the learning. Just be aware of your surroundings.
Right, so thank you so much. Any closing note that you want to share to the listeners?
Yeah, it as I said, it's really my pleasure to be here. I think probably 5 years back I was listening to such pieces of advices on how to become a data scientist, and also it's certainly very important. I want to give it away to people out there. uh, from whatever I have learned, from whatever experience that I have had, I want people to learn as much as possible from them. So my all the best wishes for all the people who are budding to be data scientists, And I really wish that you achieve your target as soon as possible. Land somewhere, apply your knowledge, land it into internships, do whatever, but don't stop your learning, and do not stop, trying. So that is very, very important. And I'm sure that you're going to land in the right place. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Sameer. That was very, very wonderful. I think like the learners have got wonderful insights, like specifically on the interviews, intricacies about how does the interview is conducted, what are the some of the deeper aspects that an interviewer looks at an interviewee, what are the skill set, what is the mindset. I think people have learned a humongous amount of information from this podcast, and
It's my
thank you
pleasure.
so much for taking out your time and doing this and sharing it with the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye. ओके
So yeah,
अच्छा हुआ
all
काफी
sorted.
बढ़िया था आई थिंक काफी अच्छे
Okay.
से आई थिंक आपने काफी अच्छा इंसाइट शेयर किया अराउंड इंटरव्यूज एंड लॉट ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल थिंग्स इट वाज वंडरफुल
हाँ, हाँ, मतलब मैंने जहाँ जहाँ स्ट्रगल करा, आई ट्राई टू शेयर ऑल दोस थिंग्स, क्योंकि दिस एंटायर जर्नी हैज बीन वेरी स्ट्रगल, क्योंकि मेरे टाइम पे ना दिस कोर्सेज डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट.
राइट
खुद से ही सीखना होता था.
राइट
So learned a lot in that journey. तो and I always wanted to share this कि लोगों को पता होना चाहिए what they may be going wrong at.
राइट राइट एनीथिंग दैट यू थिंक कि हमने कवर किया होता है हमने क्यों कवर नहीं किया मे बी ऐसा
I think हमने काफी अच्छे से कवर किया, extensively. I think all around 360 degrees. I think
क्योंकि हमने फिनटेक ऑलरेडी कवर किया था लास्ट एक में, तो मैंने इसलिए जानबूझ के फिनटेक नहीं कवर किया. आप आई थिंक आप यू सेड कि आप इंटरव्यूज काफी लेते हो, तो मैंने इसलिए उस पे ज्यादा फोकस रखा बिकॉज़ दैट इज मोर प्रैक्टिकल आल्सो टू द लिसनर्स.
yeah. Obviously, and people generally they would be interested in this part as well.
Yeah.
Interviews में क्या पूछा जाता है, कैसे align होते हैं.
आई थिंक द माइंडसेट ये सारी चीजें काफी लोग नहीं बताते हैं, मतलब लाइक लोग हार्ड स्किल्स बता देते हैं, ठीक है सीक्वल चाहिए, पाइथन चाहिए, बट द माइंडसेट एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, आई थिंक दैट वाज प्रीटी अमेजिंग एंड स्पॉट ऑन. थैंक यू फॉर दैट.
चलो then, thank you so much. My pleasure. Yeah. Okay. See you again. Okay.
Yeah, bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.